Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to set this up. Boom. Alrighty. Should be working now. Get rid of that. How you know? Good, and you? How you doing, buddy? TL, what's going on, man? Photo Falcon, hello. Crazy Kangaroo, what's going on, man? So, we're doing very well so far on our current short. So this is how the trade was initially set up. So I am starting to try to get into the swing of things when it comes to the oppositional trading thing that we're trying to do. Obviously, the goal is pretty lofty. I'm not going to keep repeating it. I don't want a whole bunch of buzz around this until I can prove it. I don't want this to be like something I just get people to come into and then I never prove it. So that's something that we're going to kind of keep on the back burner. But I'm going to show you guys how I do it as I go along. All right. So let me turn off the music real quick because it's kind of bugging me. All right. So we opened up a long position once we crossed over this major support. Well, actually turned into support, was resistance. Then we opened up this particular trade right here. Okay. So it was a little bit above that. It was about, I think, 60 or 70. So we'll just do 80 just in case. Stop loss down below this. Now, as this moved up, okay, so once we established that it was an ascending wedge, I went ahead and started moving my stop loss underneath this as it went. So when we got stopped out over here, I actually didn't lose much. I actually made like just a tiny bit, not a whole lot, nothing to really scoff about. But when we were up here, I did get a entry at 73.58 roughly. My stop loss was at 7,600 above the diagonal resistance of the ascending wedge. Okay. So that is the current trade that is obviously in the winning position. Once we got stopped out right here, we are just in this singular short. All right, so once we got past this major support and potentially can be used as resistance once again, I do have a feeling that we might actually come up and retest this diagonal resistance and maybe create a descending triangle. That's also a possibility, so that's something to watch out for. And let me make sure is my mic coming through? Okay, yes it is. All right, awesome. So once we got past that particular price point, what I did from that point was kind of assess the situation. How much percentage am I up? I think I was up roughly like 200%. So that gives me a total of 300% before I get stopped out if I switch to 50x. So once I switch to 50x, I have a stop loss of 6%. Now this is an actual liquidation, okay? So like I said, in order to achieve these goals that we're trying to set for ourselves, well, me personally, I have to be able to risk way more than I'm typically used to. So that's something that I'm really trying to practice here is, making ballsy plays, but at the right times. Obviously it can backfire. This is why I don't promote you guys to follow along with me. But if you do, please do it on a test net. Do not trust this until I am confident that I have this down. Right now, I am practicing. That's the difference you need to understand. All right. You have to practice strategies before you start really implementing them into a big account or just your account in general. Okay. So from that point, I went from, I think, 18x leverage from the original position to 50x leverage. So now every single percentage point from this point down is now worth 50% added to the portfolio. So far, I am up 100% actual. So I put in a margin of $50. I am now up $50, added 50% to my account so far. But from this point on, every single 2 points is now worth 100%, well, 50% to my portfolio. All right, so if we have around 19, okay, so we're going to do the math on this real quick. Calculator, 19 divided by 2 times 50% each. So far, if everything goes smoothly, we will make an additional 475% added to the portfolio, plus the already 100%, with a total of 575% added to this portfolio in one trade. Now, this is a macro hold. I don't, when I say stuff like this and I put these kind of targets out there, people typically don't quite know if that's right. But what I can say is that with these macro patterns, it's never a straight shot. Sometimes, very rarely, is it a straight shot, but most of the time it's incremental steps. It's a domino game. So that's why I'm trying to plan out what could be the possible, patterns leading us down to that final target. Obviously a descending triangle would definitely help. Maybe once we get down to this region, maybe we make another ascending triangle, just a smaller one that could help us get further down. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so overall, that's our target. That's what I'm really trying to hold to. But if I see any major signs of reversal before then, obviously use your own discretion. All right, let's talk about the indicators. What are they saying? And I mean, it's a lot of continuation, especially on the smaller time frames. The current, let's see, we have a lot of bearish divergence coming off of the 15-minute. Not too exciting. You guys know I don't particularly get all uppity about the 15-minute. Let me go ahead and bring this up real quick. Gotcha. Alrighty. So, a lot of hidden bearish divergence. Let's go to the 4-hour. That's particularly the one that I like to look at. Now, this is what is kind of telling me that we might have a potential retest a lot higher than what people might be expecting. But granted, it is not technically a fantastically disparaging divergence. And what do I mean by that? Obviously, I'm using just a bunch of words that I'm trying to describe this with. When I look at divergences, I try to look at the disparity between, uh, you know, the 2 points on which the divergences lie. So the more exaggerated, such as like it being this high or this low, the stronger the divergence is. But in this case, it's not too crazy. It's not that too crazy of an angle. The only thing is that on the actual MACD, it is quite crazy in terms of the disparity between the 2 points. But I have confidence that we will probably continue to get rejected off of this diagonal resistance. Now, alongside this, I have opened up a long with a stop loss down here around, I think it was like 6,700 maybe, somewhere around there. The reason being why I opened a long in that region was not for a scalp retest of this particular resistance, but just in case we actually just bounce right here and continue going up even further past that resistance. Reason being is we have broken out of a very strong resistance. This diagonal resistance that has been holding us down for, almost the last year, all right, has been broken and we have not gone below it yet. So until that point, I still need to have a backup plan for if this thing decides to find support and bounce and continue on upwards. Now, obviously, if it does continue on upwards, the next major resistance would be this red line right here. So, I mean, if we went straight up, it would be at about 8,312. And that is the 5-year long support that we have been using, you know, ever since back here. So that's kind of my short-term analysis, what my positions particularly are. Um, I can get more into the opinions of what I actually think is going to happen. Uh, I don't think we're going to bounce here, to be honest. We could, but I personally don't think so. I do think that we might have a retest, maybe of 7,000 again, or maybe even higher, around 7,270, and then start putting in a descending triangle, and hopefully that will be the first leg down. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. Uh, the only thing that tells me otherwise is, the higher end MACDs. We do have a lot of bullish divergence on those, especially from these positions over here. So that could be subsided with the particular retest to the upside and hopefully stall support. Let me go ahead and look at the 12-hour RSI. 12-hour RSI is in a very peculiar place. Okay, Uh, we could use the rest of the RSI to tank the price, which I would absolutely love. But on the other hand, it is chilling around the 50. And you guys know that I particularly look at the 50 for early warning breakouts. Okay. So if I do see a somewhat strong bounce at the 50, particularly on the 12-hour, because that's currently the only RSI that is generally close besides the daily, uh, I would probably most likely be kind of scared of a breakout to the upside. The daily RSI is actually looking pretty good for a short um, because we have broken the support on the daily. That's the main thing. But we could find it come down to probably most likely around here, about 38. And then around 38, it'll probably have a retest of either the 48 or this diagonal resistance. And yeah, I just wanted to get some quick things out of the way. I didn't have a whole lot of time tonight, so I'm trying to keep it nice, short, and sweet. We'll go over a couple more coins before I go. Any questions before I go about what we're doing here? I know the chat's been kind of dry, but I think you guys are just listening intently, which I appreciate. So let's go to Ethereum. Let's check up on that. Ethereum did completely what I thought it would not. I thought we were going to actually break out to the downside, but obviously it's a bullish pattern, so can't really complain there. But what I can say is maybe, just maybe, we are actually just lagging behind Bitcoin at the moment. So we could technically be in a bear flag / ascending wedge, and perhaps the particular target on that could be, let's see, target would be, if we broke out sometime around here, most likely about $111. It would match up with that bottom support as well. So what you want to see, all right, and this is what I'm talking about when I say be proactive, not reactive, guys. All right, if you want to see Bitcoin get up from this point and start moving to higher highs, all right, you need to think like an if this then that statement. So, if this pattern has happened, what needs to happen next in order for us to create some sort of bullish pattern? And what I could see happening from this point right here is one of two things. If you want to get bullish on Bitcoin, you most likely, these are the two biggest bullish reversal patterns that you'll probably see. And that is going to be a inverse head and shoulders, hopefully, on a lot of these coins. All right, we were talking about that way in the beginning. That's what we were kind of hoping for instead of an ascending wedge, to be honest. But another pattern that we could possibly see is a much bigger Adam and Eve. All right, and this is the cool thing. I firmly believe that, let's see, let me go to BTC USD real quick because I need to gauge the size. I firmly believe that if we can spend roughly like the next 2 to 3 months building an Adam and Eve pattern, sometime around August is probably when it will break out to the upside. That's what I'm hoping for because that's what I'm used to. Okay, almost always have I heard about Bitcoin the most in August. It's just for some reason, that's when it tends to lift off. But right here, this is called a Adam and Eve pattern. Adam and Eve patterns are defined by a sharp dip in the beginning and then a rounded bottom. And then obviously they have a horizontal resistance the entire time and then break out to the upside. What I'm hoping for is, and hey, how you doing, Jake? What's up, man? Glad you could stop by. Usually you could see my chubby cheeks on camera, but my lights are not turning on right now for some reason. But this is what I'm hoping for. What I just talked about. We have a sharp dip. Hopefully, that will be our diagonal resistance. Not diagonal, horizontal resistance, my bad. And then hopefully we get some sort of rounded bottom, kind of coming out like this. Obviously, it could be much less concave, uh, but that's what I'm kind of hoping for. And then hopefully blast off to the upside. That would be perfect. If we saw that, I truly think Bitcoin could actually break to new all-time highs, because that kind of pattern really does show a lot of promise in Bitcoin usually. And I know my chart's kind of messy right now, but we'll kind of zoom in here. So that's what I really want to be promoting to you guys. Despite you having a certain bias on the market, depending on who you are. Some people want to see Bitcoin crash and burn because they want to get more of it before it ultimately does go back up. That's commonly what I hear from most people. Um, do I not use Gone fans anymore? I'm not using them in this particular area. Um, I'm just trying to practice, you know, basic technical analysis as well, because that's something that I have been putting on the backside. So I really want to get better at that as well. Give me 1 second, guys. So, like I was saying, no matter what your current bias is, make sure you have a backup plan. And whether that means putting in place a certain point and a certain stop loss where if it gets to that price point, you will take that short or that long. Or maybe you're sitting in a position like I am right now, where you have a really good entry on a potential short, but there is one more caveat that it needs to complete in order for you to actually see major short. Uh, that's what I'm talking about here. So that's why in this position, I'm hedging against myself and putting a long in with a good stop loss and not too crazy leverage, because you don't want the losses from this long, if it does happen to lose, to outshine the winnings. It should be negligible. That's what you want to see. But if it does happen to go back up, the percentage points would actually catch up to the loss of the short. Can I share the link for you? You can message me on Discord at any time, any day. My Discord and everything is in the description if you want to go ahead and use that. Do you use trailing stops at all? I do not. I really don't think they're healthy for you, because anything that is basically mindless, where it's an automated system, I don't feel like it's healthy for your trading career, especially in the beginning. If you're an advanced trader and you have a really good understanding of what needs to happen in order for what to happen, I would say that's when you can start using bots and you can start using trailing stop losses, things that are automated for you. But the way I handle trailing stops, I do it myself. But what I do is whenever a major support or resistance is broken, I don't immediately take my stop loss all the way down. Once I see a retest of this resistance and then it gets confirmed and starts moving down again, that's when I can move my stop loss below it. Well, just a little bit above it. Sorry. I think if you post links in the chat, I think they just get deleted. So I I don't know. Let's see. There's one other thing that I wanted to cover before I went. We can talk about XRP. I didn't even really talk about Ethereum. My bad. Um, and Andrew, I'm sorry, I did not answer your question earlier. Hopefully, you're still here. How do we get in on the challenge and run alongside? In my Telegram, I am putting out calls related to this. It's actually probably what I'm going to be doing from this point on, because so far, so good. I mean, it's only one trade, but a trade with the potential to add 575% to your account. Uh, if I can continuously do this, even if it's one trade a month, all right, listen, even if it's one trade a month where you can make around 500%, I'm not saying every single one's going to be like that, but one, two, three, four, five, six. That's a whole lot of taxes, all right? But the potential's there. I'm not saying it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. I just think that it's an incredible way to trade if you really put some time and effort into it. Yeah, I see the gigantic head and shoulders. My thing is hopefully it does not turn into uh, you know, us going all the way down to this. Because the way I'm seeing it right now is we have these three wicks right here, roughly. Obviously, I'm not using the wick off of this one, but we're creating kind of like a bullish pennant. That's my hope. But all in all, if we do get stuck between these points, I mean, sometime around December 2020, or so, I mean, we're going to have a decision by that time, by the end of this year, probably, on which way we're going to be moving on the macros. So this is going to sound like a plug, like I just set you up, but the Telegram is $50 a month. I actually am thinking about dropping that price point back a little bit because I do feel kind of bad. Um, I've been giving a lot of stopped out calls lately, and I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the absolute best trader in the world. You guys know me, I'm all about risk to reward. I could lose 7 times in a row, but if I hit one good trade, I set my account up for like 12 losses. Obviously 5, minus the 7. But a lot of people don't like that because it does require a lot of consistency. And even though I teach a lot of the people in the Telegram, that is something that I'm still seeing not being followed through. Setting up risk to reward parameters for yourself in the beginning and following through with them the entire time and not letting your emotions control what you put in. So, that being said, I think I'm going to drop it down to probably like $40 to begin with, see what the response is on that. Um, but that is something. So, if you want to get into the Telegram group, the Patreon link is in the description. That is always an option. As well as that, anybody that's new, Jake, if you wanted to do this, that's up to you. I'm a poet. But I do have a Bybit affiliate link in the description. Now, before you start calling me a scam artist, it's not going to make that much. It's probably going to make probably like $1,000 every 3 months. I kind of did the math on it, um, especially with the way my channel is right now. But all that money is gonna be used for giveaways on this channel. And depending on how much money is coming in, depends on how much I can give out. Me and my friend, we were making jokes last night that if my channel ever got decently popular, I could be giving away like cars every single week. That would be pretty cool. I would love to be that guy. I'll be like the Oprah of YouTube. Kite, what is your philosophy on scalping? For example, on the 15, 5, 3, and 1 minute charts. Personally, all it is finding a range and setting yourself up for good trades. All right. So let a range be established, whether it's a longer term or a shorter term. We can say this stretch up here. Okay. And always give yourself some headroom as well. Okay. It's never going to be cut and dry, especially with supports and resistances like this. So, what you want to do is find your range and set yourself up a top and a bottom, and only take shorts from the top and only take longs from the bottom. And obviously, at some point, you're going to have a breakout. All right. Just go ahead. If you get stopped out, set up a long, set up a stop loss right here, and ride it out to the target. You do not need to overcomplicate this stuff. Just make yourself a plan. That is all. I just look for ranges. I trade the tops and bottoms. That's what I did when I was, just early on in my career. That's all you need to do. Do not overcomplicate this. Make it as easy as possible for you to follow along. Don't make your charts for anybody else. Make your charts for yourself. And if you need to, sit down and explain your chart. You know, First and foremost, make sure that you have the information that you need. And Mrs. G, I'm so sorry I did not say hello. Hi, how you doing? I personally think 3 to 4K will become floor for like 1 to 2 years. Like 6K became the floor. Maybe, just maybe. I definitely think there's a lot more stuff going on in the world that could possibly inflate the price of Bitcoin this time around, though. So, the current risk to reward profile that I have is insane. All right. Now, this is why I'm trying to be very careful with letting you guys, smoke some of my hopium when it comes to this 250K challenge. All right. At the current point, if I want to get to where we should be, around that 250K mark, I have to use 25% of my account as risk every single trade. Now, the way that I'm counter reacting that and making sure that it's at least safe, quote unquote, is I'm hedging against myself. So no matter what happens, hopefully if I do this correctly, I will always have a 100% win ratio. I mean, obviously one account is going to be losing, one account is going to be winning, but I hold both accounts. So therefore I walk away with money. That's the hope. Now, once I get up to, $70,000, I can take that back down a little bit because I'll still hit my target as long as I'm still hitting my actual targets in terms of actual percentage added to the entire portfolio, not just margin. So that's the current one, 25%. So the way that works is basically if you have a 2% stop loss, let's see, that would be 50%, 50%. So if you have a 2% stop loss, you'll be using about 25x leverage. If you have a 1% stop loss, you'll be using 50x leverage. If you have a 0.5% stop loss, you'll be using 100x leverage. That's how I'm working it out. How do we get in on the challenge and run alongside? I've been getting this question a lot. I've been getting bombarded ever since the day I mentioned it. And you guys are more than welcome to follow along. And I will sit down every single, live stream and explain the current trades and how I'm thinking about them so you guys can kind of get in my mindset. But I want you guys to make sure that you are not using your main account for this, okay? Use a test net or use an account with $50, all right? Either way, all right? Even if you use an account with $50 compared to your, $5,000 portfolio that you use for trading, the mathematics are still there that you could probably make a lot of money. This trade, if it does work out in its entirety, will be making for 575% added to our portfolio. So, I mean, even if you can make $400 a month with a $50 portfolio, so that's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. That's still $204,000 from $50, even with 400%. So, make sure that your risk is not there, all right, in the beginning. I do not want you guys to fail and be mad at me. I'm being very upfront with saying that this is something that I'm practicing. But if you guys do want to follow along, you can follow along through the live streams or purchase the Telegram. Up to you. But you guys know me. I don't hide my trades. I'm not that type of YouTuber that's going to sit here and, bug you to buy the Telegram and I don't share what I'm actually doing on the live streams. I tell you guys my actual positions, everything like that, so that you guys know I'm being transparent. Let's see. For me, until we go back down below this neckline, we actually have just confirmed more bullish divergence than we ever have. Personally, that's what my thought process is, Jake. The reason being is, on a head and shoulders, you have the two shoulders like so, and you have a neckline. Okay, just like right here, and I would say it's right here at about 5,982. Okay, and we dipped below that, but came straight back up. That tells me that we have really strong support down there at the current moment. Obviously, this can change, but for right now, I do think it's still in a bullish territory, to be honest. So I do feel like not only was this just Corona that caused this huge drop, but I do think it was a shakeout for the happening. This definitely could have been a hidden shakeout where everybody just attributes it to Corona purely, but more than likely it's probably just so bigger players can get a excellent entry on this next potential bull run. That's my thought process. I just try to think like a whale, trade like a bot. Obviously, if conditions change, a robot would change. They don't have emotions. That's my my current kind of philosophy when it comes to trading. Think about it. I'm pretty comfortable with Bybit. Until Bybit does me wrong, I don't think there's any really reason to change. The only reason why I would ever change exchanges is probably for funding rate, to take advantage of that. So that's kind of one of the only reasons why I would change. But that being said, guys, stream's been going on for 30 minutes. That's kind of our cutoff time. So I'm gonna start saying goodbye to you guys. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys on Monday. So let's see. What song do I want to pick? Oh, guys, I I you guys ever go back and listen to music that you have not heard in like 10 years? Cuz that's a good feeling. Brings back so many good memories. That guy, thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate it, buddy. Andrew, thanks for showing up, man. Appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully you guys saw this. Uh I didn't stream on hold on. How do I get to my? I didn't stream on Wednesday. Very sorry about that. Time got away from me. But this is why I tell you guys that in the case that I do not stream, make sure you guys are following me, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I don't want to be that guy, but this is for your sake. If you guys want constant updates, even when I don't stream, if you guys subscribe to me, hit the bell notification, hopefully it will pop up on your phone. But always go to my channel and click on the community tab. And then you can see, like right here, I posted this. They pretty much gave all of the information. I gave you guys pretty much a freebie from my Telegram group. Um, let's see. It talks about my long from 780 with a stop at 6,923. And then I have a short with a stop at 7,620. The idea is to get awesome risk rewards on both sides and for the profits of one to cover the other loss completely. With the target from the ascending wedge, I found suitable targets, and both trades are roughly a 7.5. You'll lose a 1 on the risk to reward ratio if the winner comes out on top. So that's pretty much what we're trying to do here. And obviously, so if I win this singular trade, I will add 162% to the trading portfolio. This is actually much higher than I anticipated. I didn't really do the math correctly when I put this out. I thought it was 162%, and I was completely fine with that, but it's actually 575%. So even better than what we currently. And I linked my chart as well, so that way you guys could kind of see the trading setup. This is back when I posted it. And I gave my honest opinion as well. Obviously, setting up both sides of a trade is easy to say that you're always right. But I also give my opinion as well. I believe somewhere in this, I said, yeah, that being said, we are still in a bearish pattern with a lot of higher time frame MACD still pointing to the downside with some heavy bearish divergence. So I was basically telling you guys, hey, even though I'm setting up a long and a short, I do believe the short would win. That was kind of my opinion attached at the very end. So that's something, if you guys want to be able to find out what happens if I don't stream, that's an easy way using the community tab on my channel. Alrighty, Sean, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. And Chunk Z, nice one, man. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. All right, guys. This is my favorite childhood song. It's pretty cliche. All right, everybody's heard this song, but I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on Monday. All right. Bye, bye, guys.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard. Whether it's the beat of the mic, he feels so unlike everybody else alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him. But fuck him, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Tox picking it up. Let's go.
Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still leaving him starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact that many misjudge him cause he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together himself, now the picture connects. Never asking for someone's help or to get some respect. He's only focused on what he wrote. His will is beyond reach, and now it all unfolds. The skill of an artist.
This is 20% skill, 80% fear. Be 100% clear, cause Ryu was ill. Who would've thought he'd be the one that set the West in flames? And I heard him wreck it with the crystal method, name of the game. Came back, dropped Megadeth, took him to church. I like Bleach, man. Ryu had the stupidest verse. This dude is the truth. Now everybody giving them guest spots and stocks through the roof. I heard he fucking with that stock.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
They call him Ryu, he's sick and he's spitting fire. And Mike got him out the dryer, he's hot. Found him in Fort Minor with top, but a fucking nihilist porcupine. He's a prick, he's a cock. The type women wanna be within rappers, hope he gets shot. 8 years in the making, patiently waiting to blow. Now the record with your notice taking over the globe. He's got a partner in crime, his shit is equally dope. You won't believe the kind of shit that comes out of this kid's throat.
He's not your everyday on the block. He knows how to work with what he's got, making his way to the top. He often gets a comment on his name. People keep asking him, was it given that birth or does it stand for an acronym? No, he's living proof. Let him rock in the booth. He'll get you buzzing quicker than a shot of vodka with juice. Him and his crew are known around as one of the best. Dedicated to what they do and give 100%.
Forget Mike, nobody really knows how or why he works so hard. It seems like he's never got time because he writes every note and he writes every line. And I've seen him at work when that light goes on in his mind. It's like a design is written in his head every time before he even touches a key or speaks in a rhyme. And those motherfuckers he runs with, the kids that he signed, ridiculous, without even trying. How do they do it? This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50%